Hey, what up, party people? It's me, Joey West Coast. Just doing my new reaction to the new Fantastic Four movie that just came out today. Just wanted to give a couple of my thoughts and, out of theater reaction. It's not really a review per se, but I just wanted to let you all know that I really enjoyed the movie. I loved it. Now, to be fair, I'm sure my review is probably going to be a little bit biased. Full disclosure, I did work at Marvel Studios once upon a time ago. So, those movies will always have a special place in my heart, for my time there. But, that aside, I really enjoyed this movie. The casting was spot on. I was a little bit worried how Joseph Quinn would do as Johnny Storm, just because, just hearing, how he said he didn't want this Fantastic Four to be like a womanizer, like how he's typically portrayed, at least in the past couple films. But gotta say, they nailed the tone, they nailed the spirit of the Fantastic Four being the first family, and I love the fact that it's set in this retro futuristic 1960s vibe, which is I love that aesthetic. Growing up as someone who watched, all the old 1960s cartoons, and just what that retro futuristic vibe felt like they just captured that to the T. And Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm was great. I really loved her story arc. Pedro Pascal, him as Reed Richards, I was worried that it was going to be are we going to reach a point where we're having Pedro Pascal fatigue, because he's in everything, but then you see him in this movie and you're like, oh no, I see why they cast you. You were much better suited in this than you were as, Maxwell Lord in Wonder Woman 84, which was a fucking travesty. If you haven't seen that movie, do not go watch Wonder Woman 84. It's absolute all ass, no breaks. But I don't want to get sidetracked. And then, the only minor criticism that I really have about the movie is that you went out of your way to make everything feel so fantastical. All pun intended, they are the Fantastic Four. Is that I do wish when it came to Galactus, and I'm not going to get into spoiler about his motivation or nothing like that, or his story beats. It's just a visual aesthetic. Is that you went so far out of your way to make it look so retro futuristic. I kind of wish they would have leaned more into the crazy color vibes of how Galactus looked in the comics, because his overall appearance in the movie is fucking great. His design himself, I thought he looked great. I just wish color palette wise, it's dude, lean into it, because you've already made it a 1960s retro futuristic. Trying to remember the person who plays Silver Surfer. Okay, it's escaping me right now, but honestly, I really liked her as Silver Surfer. Her story, her role, how she played into Galactus, all makes sense when you see it in context to the movie, which I thought was fantastic. I would also highly recommend you sit through the entire credits. The initial credits once the movie ends. I loved how they played it, and then it's a Marvel movie, so it's kind of a given at this point. There are 2 post-credit scenes, but I'm not going to say what they entail because I want you to see that for yourself. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. It was well written. It captured the spirit of the Fantastic Four, which is what I really wanted. And honestly, I haven't felt this excited about a CBM in a while. And maybe because I'm a parent and how the movie played out and how well, it captured it. Honestly, I kind of got a little bit emotional, because it reminded me of when I became a father. And that's a side story. I don't want to send you guys down a side mission of me as a person, but it did affect me in a way. But I really enjoyed this movie. If I had to give it a rating, it'd be go see it right now in theaters. I didn't see it in IMAX just because my local AMC where I live and the theater I love does not have an IMAX. So I'm probably going to have to go down to Universal Hollywood and to go to their AMC because I want to see Galactus in true, 3x4, getting into like the minutia of the, aspect ratio. I want to see him in IMAX because, like I said, I thought his design looked great, and to see and to know that they filmed his sequences specifically in IMAX, normally I don't really care about seeing a movie in IMAX unless it's specifically shot for the IMAX format, because then you really don't gain anything out of it. But the fact that in this case they did shoot his scenes and made it fit IMAX to give him like the grandiose appeal, I want to see that. But so I'm definitely gonna have to go check it out at AMC and Universal for the true IMAX. To be honest, most theaters labeled IMAX are not true IMAX. That's something I feel is very misleading. They usually just put on like the largest screen and they're like, this is IMAX. No, there's only very few theaters that actually have a true IMAX screen. But overall, like I said, if I had to give it a review, I'm going to give it see it in theaters, which is pretty much, that is my top rating I could give a movie. To be honest, I'll have to go and explain my rating systems. It's really not that complicated. It just goes see it in a movie theater / own it on Blu-ray. That's pretty much like I highly recommend it. And then watch it on streaming. That's kind of like it's middle of the road. It's just like I'm not gonna say the movie's good. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's a movie you don't necessarily have to rush out in theaters for. And then I have, skip it. The movie's not worth your time. Like, why waste your time? Time is money, essentially. That's kind of a brief, synopsis about my rating system. I will probably get around to making like a true video of why my rating system is the way the system and why I don't believe in giving things numbers or letter grades, because I don't think that's really indicative of quality of movie, really. Like, all film is subjective, as John Campea would say. But overall, I really like this movie. I highly recommend you go see it. It was worth the ride, the drive. It was everything I wanted to be out of the Fantastic Four. Plus, like I said, I used to work at Marvel, so it's always cool to see people like their name in the credits. Like, no matter how many times you think you don't really think about it, it's always cool to see people you used to work with, still doing their thing, still rocking it, still killing it. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to say peace out, party people. Remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know did you love it, did you hate it, let me know in the comments down below. Peace out.